Hi everyone and welcome to the Core Vitality Summit. I'm your host, Yvonne Britton, and joining us today is Kimberly Spair from Reclaimers of Health. And I am especially excited to have Kimberly because I have actually worked with her in the past for some health issues that my then 5-year-old daughter had, and I will be eternally grateful for that help. So welcome, Kimberly.
Thanks, Yvonne. So happy to be here today.
Yeah, really, really delighted to have you. So Kimberly, for anybody who's not familiar with Reclaimers of Health or what you guys do, would you mind giving us just a brief introduction before we get into the questions?
Sure. My background is in speech pathology. I was a feeding specialist, speech pathologist in the pediatric population as well as the adult population. My experience went back to doing everything from early intervention to acute care and dealing with tracheostomies and feeding tubes. That was a decade ago already. And through my own health journey, I kind of studied all different kinds of things, including holistic nutrition, yoga therapy, all different kinds of things. And along that journey, met my partner. Her name is Gretchen, and we formed Reclaimers of Health. Reclaimers of Health is a coaching program based off of our friend Anthony William and his wonderful books, Medical Medium, Life-Changing Foods, and Thyroid Healing. And we have used his protocols to not only reverse our own chronic and mystery symptoms. Both of us were diagnosed with Hashimoto's, Lyme, lots of chronic and mystery symptoms that weren't even addressed by anyone out there. We were able to reverse our own conditions, and now we do coaching with people all over the world. I specifically absolutely love working with children. I do work with adults too, women, men, but children are my passion. I have to say that. So Reclaimers of Health has been, formed out of pure grit and a pure determination to heal.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I think there's so many people that can benefit from it, and it's really amazing if you follow you guys on social media or Anthony, and you see those stories, those success stories of people who have turned it around. And just something like Hashimoto's, actually it's very personal to me because I have someone very close to me in my family that firmly believes that she has Hashimoto's and she will have it forever. So the fact that you say that you've had it and you've overcome it, it's so powerful.
And as Anthony says, it's just that feeling of thinking that your body is attacking itself. And once you read Anthony's work and you realize my body is not attacking myself, there's a pathogen involved, and I can do something about that. That is huge. That is huge.
It really is. It really is to know that you have the power and not control in a bad way, but that you have a say in it. Yeah, definitely. So just on the topic of vitality, because it's really tied into everything. I obviously and I've personally had, I've had the migraines going on, chronic migraines for over 20 years, and it wasn't just the migraines, it was obviously a whole package of things, as it usually is. Like, from what you're seeing, what do you have a feeling for what the main contributors are nowadays to us? We start off where kids running about, and then we go through our life eventually, start slowing down, or even it happens when you're a kid. So, what are you seeing nowadays as the reasons behind this lack of vitality?
Yeah, so the main reasons for such a lack of vitality nowadays are, number one, our society. Our expectations of ourselves, they're increasingly high. Everything is instantaneous. Everything's at our fingertips. We're always on our phones. As moms, we wake up running, and many of us run all day long until our head hits the pillow at night. That's number one. Yeah. I mean, that's huge. And as we also know through the work of Anthony, we're up against the unforgiving four, and this is where the work that we're doing comes into play and, why it's so important. The unforgiving four are radiation, heavy metals, viral explosion, and DDT. He explains this very well in his first book, Medical Medium. Obviously, these four things, in the body, they can be stored in the body. They can be passed down from generation to generation. And this is why, so many people they think, I just have bad genes. I was passed this gene from my mom, and, I'm always going to have this condition. It's not true at all. Our job here is to begin unraveling the unforgiving four and showing them a way out of our body.
Yeah, definitely. So would you say like that's the majority of what you see nowadays is that's the kind of like the factor behind it, the majority of people that you see?
Yeah. Yep, the main contributors to ending up this way, it has to do with being passed, things are passed to us during conception and in the womb. It also has to do with lack of nutrients in our diets, toxic environments. We have poor sleep quality. People are spending most of their life in fight or flight. And obviously all of those things make it very difficult for our bodies to detox. And that can leave some of us with chronic and mystery symptoms, or, do I dare say disease, and really it's just these things trapped in our body. And when you flip your thinking around to that, thinking that, you can be empowered and there's something that you can do to make a change, to just start slowly, little by little, every day, trying to take these things out of your body, and you start to see your symptoms change.
I love that you say that, and it's actually on your website as well. When you help people, it's about making small changes. I think that's, otherwise it can be really overbearing. So what, to turn it around and say, what are the main or the most important steps that you think that we can take to improve our energy levels? If it's diet or exercise or supplements, or even, personal, looking inside yourself, personal work. What are kind of like when you take on a client, what are kind of like the first things that you look at?
Yeah, so clients usually come to us after they have exhausted all other options. Most of our clients have seen the best of the best in terms of doctors and practitioners, and many of them have traveled around the world doing so. It's Anthony's life-saving information that finally brings these people to the straight and narrow and onto a healing path. We help them facilitate that. We help them facilitate this work. And the most important steps, we'll talk about diet first, in terms of diet, removing foods that feed the underlying viral and toxic load in the body. As Anthony outlines in his first book, they are corn, soy, canola oil, processed beet sugar, eggs, dairy, pork, farmed fish, gluten, and then a couple other things, MSG, natural flavors, artificial sweeteners, and citric acid. And I know that sounds like this crazy long list, and it's probably in most things, but when you start to eat fresh food that comes from the earth, you don't have to worry about any of that. And then I'll talk about exercise for a minute. As far as exercise goes, it's pretty important to get out into nature, to connect with Mother Earth, even if it's just sitting and breathing. Gentle walking is wonderful, and so is anything that helps to move the lymphatic system in the body, and my favorite thing for that is rebounding. Supplement-wise, supplements are critical in this day and age because our soil is depleted, and it's just very hard for us to get the minerals that we need in our body. Supplements obviously vary from person to person, but I'd like to mention a couple that are really important as a starting place for most people. B12, we all need B12. We need zinc.
Yep.
A plant-based omega is a really good idea, as well as a probiotic. And I just love barley grass juice powder, the Vimergy barley grass juice powder. Anthony has so graciously has a page dedicated on his website of the best supplements out there. They're listed at medicalmedium.com. We also have a small list on our website of reclaimersofhealth.com, just some of the ones that we most use. And, it's really important to take supplements off of his list because there's a reason that we're seeing people reversing, these chronic and mystery symptoms.
Yeah, I know that page very, very well. Visit it frequently. It is true. When you were saying that big long list of what, we shouldn't eat, it did sound like really crazy, but then I thought it's not actually that complicated because if you're buying fresh food, then you don't have those things in your diet. So
absolutely. So it's just about coming back to the fresh whole foods. That's all it is. It's really not that complicated. It's packaged food is where we find all of that stuff.
Exactly. And if you avoid that, then it's really not that difficult. It seems really difficult, I think, when you think about it. But when you get into it and you get into the routine, for me, it's always been important to have some kind of routine because the minute I stop, it's quite hard to get back into it again.
Oh, yeah. That's everyone. That's human nature.
Yeah, and you kind of beat yourself up about it sometimes. I've worked a lot on just, it's okay. You've gone off the path. It's okay. We'll get back on there.
Yep.
Yeah, because I think sometimes with food, not obsessive, but you can almost put that stress onto eating correctly. And for me personally, I've had to really work on relaxing myself and like, okay, I'm not able to, it's going to be, I'm weighing up the pros and cons of, is it worth the stress of like running out and trying to find, or I'm hungry right now, should I just have to just eat, and what I eat anyway, my other alternative is not unhealthy, but that's been a lot of personal work for me, to be honest. I was going to ask you about hydration. Again, this, for me personally, there's two things that have really worked for me. I could never quite put my finger on one thing. It's always a combination, and I have used some supplements that I'm sure have helped with sleep and with different things. But I think that drinking water with lemon in the morning and the celery juice, I found them to be life-changing. And I don't think I ever realised how dehydrated I was.
Oh yeah, so many of us.
Yeah, could you speak a little bit about hydration, water, and
Yeah, so chronic dehydration can obviously lead to thickened blood over time, which increases our risk of all kinds of diseases and issues in the body. We always recommend hydration via living water, which is achieved by squeezing the juice of citrus into your water, lemons, limes, oranges. Coconut water is also fantastic, along with a diet full of fresh, raw fruits and veggies. Not only fresh, raw fruits and veggies, but high in fresh, raw fruits and veggies, lowering your salt content, and, always remembering things like celery juice and cucumber juice for hydration. I personally aim for 2 liters of water a day, lots of fresh juice, smoothies, and teas, super important.
How do you kind of like distribute those 2 liters, Kimberly? Do you try, is it mostly in the morning or?
No, my life is really crazy. I have a 3-year-old and I have a 4-month-old. So if I want to get anything done and accomplished, I have to line up my mason jars on my counter in the morning, and I fill 2 of them with lemon water. I fill 2 of them with teas. I fill 2 of them with juices. And then I add my smoothies, and I just kind of line them up, because if I don't, obviously I'm drinking the juices fresh, but the lemon water and the teas can sit. If I don't, then I'll slack, and then I won't feel so good.
And it's like if you're breastfeeding now, is that right?
Yes. Yes.
And I mean the hydration there. I breastfed, but I think my daughter was a champion breastfeeder, and I wish I'd known at the time. I wish I'd had all this information at the time, because I know there was some things, that I didn't do right. I could have done better, and I think hydration probably would have been really high up there in the list of what I would have done.
Oh, yes. Hydration with nursing is so important, along with eating fruit, I talk about it all the time. Breast milk is essentially sugar water, not, junky table sugar, but it is sugar water. It's very low in fat. It's very low in protein. It is essentially glucose. And we should be taking a clue from Mother Nature. We birthed it, or we hold this baby in our body for over 9 months. Our bodies are amazing. When the time is right, innately that baby comes to us. That baby knows how to find our breast. It's called the breast crawl. When you put the baby on your belly and the baby comes right up to your breast, they know where to find the milk. And then our bodies, they make milk specifically for this baby, just for that baby. And the other amazing thing is that milk content changes over time. Our body works with our baby's body to create this milk. And that baby goes from teeny tiny to chubby and adorable in a matter of weeks. So, the breast milk is obviously, doing something innately. It's changing, it's moving, it's fluxing with the growth of the baby, but it's nothing more than glucose. So it's not full of protein, it's not full of fat. So to me, that's a sign that, long term, we should be eating high glucose diets. We should be eating fruit. We should be eating potatoes. We should be eating all of those things and keeping super hydrated.
Yeah, the nurse, I'm just blown away by the nursing thing. It's just such a miracle.
It's amazing.
So would you mind, because I just love this whole topic of pregnancy and childbirth. Yeah. Were you already like taking the kind of like medical medium protocol with your first child, or could you compare, or maybe just mention a little bit how your pregnancy was and how your birth went?
Sure. Yeah, I found the medical medium stuff right after my first birth. So my first son was raised, nursing this way, thank God. But my first pregnancy was different. I was doing other things at that time. But this time around, I did things a lot differently. I ate very differently. I ate a ton of fruit. I ate a ton of potatoes. I, was very hydrated. I did a lot of juicing. I did a lot of smoothies. I ate a ton of dates and a lot of avocados. Avocados are actually the closest thing to a mother's milk. So what can be more important, mineral-wise, than to include avocados in your growing body, and for your baby. My birth this time was totally different. I had a completely unmedicated birth. I was in and out of the tub, and I was actually a VBAC this time because my first birth was a natural birth, up to 10 centimeters, and my son's foot came out. He got stuck in my birth canal. So after, 24 hours of natural labor, I ended up with a C-section the first time, totally out of my hands. It was, it was a natural birth gone wild, I always say. But this time, thank God, and my son was 6 pounds. This is another thing to compare in terms of diet and things like that. Pretty interesting. My son was 6 pounds, and my daughter this time, natural, like I said, unmedicated VBAC, 9-pound baby girl.
Wow.
And I don't have a very big frame, so yeah. So this time, my birth was amazing. I used all of these beautiful foods, not only in my pregnancy, but in the birth. I was using lots of raw honey for energy throughout my pushing stage. Every time I felt exhausted, my midwife was giving me tablespoons of honey. It was just a beautiful, beautiful experience.
Oh, that's how it should be. I had a similar experience to yours with my daughter. It was 9 months of preparation for a natural birth that also ended in a C-section. Yeah, and also weight, very, very similar weight. But that's a beautiful story. I'm really happy for you that worked out. Just shows you how different your pregnancy really can be. And I actually had miscarriages as well. So, and I see now, now I've like the chronic migraines have gone away, but it's not just that. I've seen such a difference in the way that your periods come. That's also improved. So, yeah, I think it's amazing information for anybody who's either struggling with fertility or wants to have a more healthy pregnancy. It's definitely something to tap into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I actually.
No, I just think it's like a gift from God to have this information, and it's, and I think on a daily basis, I'm so grateful that I have this information to turn to, and you can, for your health, for your child's health, it can really, like you're saying, you can have a totally different pregnancy, a totally different experience. It's amazing.
I was going to say the same thing, that I feel so blessed to have this information. I thank God every day for Anthony, writing these books and coming out and sharing all this information all the time. And I can't tell you how often, I work with women every single day, all day long, and the women that come to us with infertility and the women that come to us with, recurrent miscarriages and just issues, either, conceiving or issues in the pregnancy, and how much of a change this information can make for them. I mean, it's unbelievable, the pictures of babies that I get, and it just warms my heart knowing that, that the truth is out, the information is out, and, if we can just guide women in the right direction, their entire fate can be changed.
Yeah, it's so true. And I was just thinking back, it must have been maybe almost 2 years ago now that I went on it was like a spinach eating. It wasn't a challenge. It just ended up that there was 1 month where I ate a huge quantity of spinach every day, and I just realised at the end of that month I saw like how different like the period was, the everything about the whole experience. So it was almost like doing a little experiment on myself, but it does have such a huge difference, and then you can see your whole cycle during the month as well, because your energy levels are just totally different. Anybody I think struggling with anything to do with even like PMS, just the food in itself, like add even just, maybe you're not going to 100%, but if you just bring in like spinach, if you're doing the celery juice or in your hydration, that's already like a huge help. And I think your body just reacts,
Absolutely does. Absolutely.
Okay. So the other thing I wanted to ask about is, and you probably, like, you're in it now, like, how do you, we've got our jobs going, we've got our relationships, we've got everything, you've got a 4-month and if you say a 3-year-old, I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Like, how do you bring it all together? And then, and the question that would come after that is, when when you've got kids, you've got to get your own health rolling and to be able to concentrate on theirs. Because if you're going about exhausted and your kid's having some issues, you can't really get to work, like improve the kids' health if you're not there yourself. So, yeah.
Yeah, so this is so important, and this is where moms fall short. Everyone wants the magic pill. They want the magic supplement. They want the magic diet. They will work so hard to get that. But there is another factor. Stress is a major factor when it comes to our true essence and our core vitality. We have to learn to manage our stress and see stress as our teacher. We are living in constant fight or flight, like I said, and that absolutely plays a role in keeping us stuck in illness, stuck in symptoms. Getting out in nature, loving and accepting ourselves, our relationships, and our job, it's no different. And, I'd like to share some ways with you some things that I do to reconnect with myself. Number one is the meditations on the back of Anthony's first book, Medical Mediums. Those meditations are magic. I always say that they're unbelievable for just, grounding yourself and, just feeling anything not necessary leave your body. The other thing that I absolutely love is EFT meridian tapping. This really helps to shift the sympathetic nervous system back to parasympathetic almost immediately. This is a technique I often use with clients. It can help to calm the body, but also I see it getting to the root of trauma, getting to the root of reasons for self-sabotage when it comes to following a protocol. People want to follow this protocol and they keep messing up. Well, why are they doing that? Why are they self-sabotaging? Sometimes some EFT can really get to the core of that. And if I had to pick one other thing, it would be Phoenix Rising Yoga Therapy. It's a type of yoga that's done with your eyes closed. It's all about being in your body. It can be done by anyone, even someone in a wheelchair. It's something that I'm trained in, and I wholeheartedly believe in it because it teaches you to just be here now, to just be within yourself. So those are just some tools that I use and tools that I use with my clients to, really help to facilitate that coming out of fight or flight. Because the best protocol in the world will have a hard time working if we're on that hamster wheel of, we're feeding the viruses every time there's adrenaline release. And you know how it works. It's just a wheel. One more thing. I also wanted to say, foods for stress, too. There are foods that really help us manage stress. Thanks to Anthony, we know about all these beautiful foods and life-changing foods. Yellow and orange foods are amazing for stress. Bananas, oranges, mangoes. He says that mangoes take the heat, so anytime I'm feeling really, really anxious, I'll go to a bag of frozen mangoes and some coconut water. I love lemon balm tea, potatoes for grounding, and my personal favorite for stress would be raw honey.
Really? Oh, I didn't. Yeah. I hadn't thought about the raw honey for stress. That's interesting. Yeah.
Glucose for your brain. Yeah, absolutely.
They are great tips. I just had some mango today, so yeah, that's good.
Fantastic.
And the EFT, had never thought about. I've tried to do EFT to myself, and I didn't really get there. But when I went to a practitioner, and it ended up being just as I was pregnant with my daughter, and I had recurring miscarriages. And it really helped me process the emotions around the miscarriages, I think. Yeah. I cried and cried, and it, like you were saying, it was just layer after layer, and I feel like I did get down to the core.
Absolutely. It can help for so many different things.
Very, very powerful, but I love how you mentioned that it could get down to the reasons behind the self-sabotage when you're trying to do the diet. Because that's a really good idea, actually. Because I think there's many people that it's actually not that hard. Like, if you get organized and you buy the food and you do the organizational part, I think there is a lot of self-sabotage there, and there's always a reason behind it. So I think that's an excellent recommendation.
Yeah, or lack of motivation, or however you want to say it. Some people, it's not self-sabotage. It's either lack of motivation or, it's just in general. Why am I not able to stick to this? I have the plan. I have what I need. Why am I not doing this? Sometimes a little tapping will just, open the body up for, some clarity.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I also think when you have a low energy, sometimes you need to kind of have faith in yourself. If you keep going for a little bit longer, then it starts to turn around. I saw that it took me 2 years to start taking celery juice. I knew about that for 2 years.
Yep.
I heard Anthony, I think it was his very first Hay House radio show. There was no website. I was trying to look for this B12 and zinc and stuff. And I knew about that for a long time, and I could not get into taking it, and that was one of the key things that turned it around for me. But I must say I was taking it for a while before, and it was so gradual. Just one day I was like, I haven't had a migraine. But I had to I had to have faith, and I had to keep going for a while, and put the routine in place, and then eventually I saw the change. It didn't take that long for me, I have to say. I know that there's people that are, it takes them longer, but I think I was a few weeks, and I'm also very in tune with my body, so I began to notice things as it gradually happens.
There's always a wide range, but some people, see a difference in a matter of days with celery juice. It's always pretty amazing.
Yeah, it really is. I've kind of relaxed myself. I'm not able to take it every day at the moment just because of what we were talking about before. You're a mom, you've got what we're doing, but I buy it in bulk anyway. I make sure I've got it, and that helps.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for that.
Yeah.
So, we've talked about stress, and those were excellent recommendations. Thank you very much. Does that kind of have a knock-on effect then on our sleep, do you think?
Yeah, so as far as sleep goes, it's always important to create some sort of schedule or ritual. I always recommend getting off of all screens at least an hour before bed. Tapping into the creativity or doing some type of self-care is so important. Like I said, we have our supplements, we have our diet, but we have to do the other piece. The other piece is caring for ourselves. So I like to take an hour at night and try, quote unquote try, because again, it's difficult, especially for moms with little ones, to do something creative, to do some kind of self-care. Lemon balm tea is a beautiful nighttime ritual, as are salt baths, or some melatonin and sweet potatoes if you need some assistance getting to sleep.
Okay. Would that be like Epsom salts then, Kimberly?
Yeah. Epsom salt, some sea salt, some regular pink Himalayan salt in there.
Okay. Yeah, I do personally go for it. I love the bath, the salt bath.
Me too. It's my happy place.
It is. It's so comforting. It's like someone giving you a big warm hug.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah, Kimberly, we're running out of time, and I think I could probably go on for another couple of hours asking you questions, but I'm so grateful for you joining us today. But I think the one thing I want to mention, and we didn't get through this, we had a lot more questions there, but the fact that you yourself have mentioned that I thought you had Lyme. I didn't realise that you had the Hashimoto's. The fact that I think that you've had that, you've come out of the other side, and you're now helping people. I think the message I would love to get across to people is a message of hope, and faith as well, that this is real, this is happening. And if you follow Reclaimers on Instagram or Facebook or Anthony himself, you see these stories, and I think they're so powerful in themselves, that you were there, you did have that, and you're now on the other side, and it's possible. I think it's a really strong message. So thank you for joining us. And just to end, we can find you at reclaimersofhealth.com. You're also on Instagram, you're on Facebook, and what I would encourage people to do is to look at the programs that the ladies are offering. There's Kimberly was mentioning there's a special one coming up for kids. Well, I'm super enthusiastic about that one, because it's when you've got kids, and you get your health into a better place, it's kind of like the next step is, it might even just be, like improving the diet or something. But, I know in my case, my daughter has a terrible chronic cough that it was coming back every year. And the first year it lasted for 6 weeks. We didn't sleep for 6 weeks. It was awful. So, I think that's a great program. And then you also have the other ones. The one, I can't remember the name of the one. Call to Healing. And that's a really good one for... Sorry?
No, I was just saying the name, A Call to Healing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a great one. And then you've got more coming up, I understand.
We do.
Okay, so I would encourage everyone to go there. Thank you very much, Kimberly. It's been a real pleasure to have you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that on the level of, hope, we see every single day people reversing lifelong sentences, losing chronic and mystery symptoms, losing these tags for autoimmune illnesses, and even children losing or growing out of, tags as developmentally delayed. It's a true miracle what this work has done for so many lives out there. God is amazing. And Anthony, bless his soul for bringing this information to all of us. And if you're out there struggling, just know that there's hope.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you.
Thanks.